Let's go over the next part of our sun and clouds collage. So once you have your cloud painted background and your paper for your sun done, then you can work on this part of the project. We're going to turn our sun paper over and you will see that you have a circle and a line drawn down your paper. We're going to cut on those lines to cut out the circle for our sun shape. So I'm going to use my scissors and carefully cut around the circle shape, going slow so my cutting looks neat. I'm using my other hand to help me turn my paper as I'm cutting. Once you have your circle cut out for your sun, then we're going to cut on the straight line that is also on our paper. We're going to use this part of our paper to make lines that come out from our sun. These are the rays of light to show that the sun is shining. So you should have a piece of paper about this big. We can throw away this part of our painted paper. We don't need it anymore. Next, you'll need your cloud background, your circle cut out for your sun shape, and your piece of paper to make rays of light that come out from your sun. We'll also need some liquid glue in a bottle to glue these things to our paper. When you use this glue, you need to twist the orange part of the cap to open it. When it's closed, we see a white dot telling us that the bottle is closed. So twist to open, and then shake the bottle a little bit when you turn it upside down, and we're going to squeeze it to make the glue come out. First, let's put glue around the edges of our sun shape. So I'm going around in the shape of a circle along the edge of my sun. I'm also going to put a little bit of glue in the middle. Then I'm going to carefully flip over my circle for my sun and put it in the place I want it to be. I think I want mine in the middle. We don't want it hanging off of our paper. It needs to be all on our cloud background. Then I'm going to gently press my sun in place, pressing around the edges. A good idea is to flip over my paper and rub my paper with my hand. We never want to hit our paper. That isn't doing much to make the glue stick. But rubbing the paper will push the two papers together. Then I can give my paper a little shake and make sure that nothing is coming off. It looks like my sun shape is glued down pretty well. Now I'm going to cut some strips of paper out of this rectangle to make rays of light. I'm going to cut them so that they are shorter rather than longer. So I'm not going to cut like a very long strip of paper. I'm going to cut on the shorter side and just make them pretty skinny, but not super tiny because that would be hard to glue, and not super big because that would look a little bit funny. Just about the width of your finger is a good measurement. I'm just going to cut all my paper up into these paper strips. Now that I have my paper strips cut out, I can start gluing them in place on my paper. So we're going to use our liquid glue again, put a line of glue on our paper, and then we can put it down in the place that we want it. We want to glue these close to our sun. It's okay if some of it goes off the edge of our paper. We can always cut off the extra parts later. I'm going to try to glue mine so they're just a little bit apart from each other. One way you can do this is by spacing your paper strips out. So I did one over here. I'm going to do one on this side. Then I'll do one on the top and one on the bottom. When I'm putting my glue, I'm not putting it all the way to the end because I know I might have a little extra. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I like to hold my paper and count for about 10 seconds. That way I know it's going to stay in place. I know I only need a little bit of glue over here, so I'm just putting a little line of glue, holding it in place, counting to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now I know I need to fit some paper strips here in between. I want them to go all around my sun. It's a good idea to lay out your paper strips to make sure that you have them spaced out enough. We don't want to end up putting a bunch on one side and run out. So I laid mine out once I glued a few down. Then I know my plan for gluing. Now I can go ahead and flip over the ones that are not glued and glue them in place. Remember, only putting a little bit of glue down if your whole paper strip doesn't touch the entire paper. Like this one goes off of the edge, so I don't need the whole paper strip covered with glue. but this one fills up the entire paper. So I would put glue on the entire paper strip. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Remember to count to 10 to make sure your paper stays in place. Now that I've glued all my paper strips, I should make sure that I've gotten all the edges. I don't want any part of it coming up. I notice here that I should add a little bit more glue because the paper is lifting. So I'm putting more glue down and counting to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Once you're done, you can go ahead and put this on the drying rack to dry. If during class you run out of time and you need a place to put your papers, you can put them inside of a plastic bag and we will save it for next time. Your bag will have your name and your class code on it, so we'll know who it belongs to. I hope you had fun working on your sun and clouds collage today. I can't wait to see how yours turns out.